Okay, so my name is David Landry, and I am a native Houstonian, born and raised. I consider myself one who is a creative. I do music in the streetwear. I'm a blogger. I am a scholar, and I consider myself one who likes to help people. So, yes, so streetwear, the way I define it is clothing that isn't formal. So from, jeans to t-shirts to jackets, pretty much anything that you can wear outside of a suit or a tie or a dress shirt. That's what I would consider streetwear. Sneakers definitely are an important part of streetwear. But yeah, anything that would be considered non-conventional outside of the realm of being formal. When it comes to blogging about streetwear, I started doing it back in around 2012, 2013. A friend of mine who was running a magazine at the time here in Houston, he didn't have someone that spoke about streetwear. But I think that the realm of streetwear is an untapped market, and I feel like it's something that does need to be spoken about at a not just hey, this is fun, this is cool, but I think that it's also can be spoken about in a scholarly manner. And I had no experience. I had no journalistic experience whatsoever, aside from working, for my yearbook back in high school. But he had faith in me, and he asked for a couple writing samples. He sent them over to his editor, and they dug it, and, I worked for them for a few months. But long story short, man, that's how I got into streetwear. I eventually transitioned over to working for another blog called Day in a Dream. But before then, in between those two, I was running my own website called Curators of Dopeness blog, and I did that for about a year straight. I had a team of about 5 or 6 writers, and we were just going at it, just going ham, writing about different topics, and we did that for a year straight. And it was cool while we got a chance to do that, but it was also, I felt kind of bad because I wasn't able to pay my people. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to give them some incentive to work and really run the blog like it should have been run. And I said, well, hey, we'll put the blog on hiatus for now, but when we get to a place where we can pay you guys, we'll come back to it. Some time rolled on, and I was at a party one night, and it was a sneaker party. Donate sneakers to worthy cause. And this was a couple years ago. And I'm at the party, and a guy approached me, the guy that is the director of operations for Day in a Dream. He stepped to me, and he was like, yo, I noticed you was doing your thing over at, the magazine, and you were doing your own blog. How about you come work with us? And I looked at my wife, and I was like, yo, we was leaving the party. I said, well, what do you think about that? And she was like, yo, don't try to reinvent the wheel, do your thing, do your thing with them, and you'll be able to get a lot farther than trying to start up your own thing from scratch again. And so that's what I did. I gave him a call, set up a meeting. I was like, yeah, I'm down, let's do this, and so that's pretty much where I'm at now. So I would say from 2012 up until present day, at 6 years, so it'd be probably around my 7th year in 2019 or whenever this comes out. But to talk about streetwear, I think a lot of people take it for granted and say, well, streetwear is just a t-shirt and some jeans and you walk out the door, and it's like, nah, man, like, To me, streetwear is about comfort. Streetwear is about individuality. It's not about looking the same. Streetwear allows you to be more fluid, or more individual when it comes to expressing yourself through fashion. And so for me, when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of money, growing up. My mom, certainly, she was going, we would go to schools that had uniforms. So we definitely weren't able to express ourselves being an individual or whatever. But when I was going to certain other schools, we would have free dress days. So free dress day would allow you to wear your jeans, wear t-shirts, you didn't have to come in a polo or whatnot. And so that was kind of like my first kind of, experience with being an individual and expressing myself. Then when I got my own job, started making my own money, I was able to buy what I wanted to buy. So I could wear what I wanted to wear on the weekends, you know what I mean? So, buying my own stuff at the mall, sneakers, clothes, jeans, stuff like that. That kind of evolved into, learning about style. So that's how I got into streetwear. When I got to college, and like I said, I was working, so I was able to make my own money. I started paying attention to what my friends wore. And that's really how I got into sneakers, going to nicekicks.com, websites like that. The early evolution of like sneaker culture and what that was as far as, my generation. And going to websites like Nice Kicks and Hype Beast and Hi Somebody and seeing the guys like the Eddie Cruzes and the Jeff Staples and the cats like that are really big in streetwear, and I was like, man, those guys are dope, but they live in LA and they live in New York, they don't live in Houston. And I was like, man, I heard about this whole H-Town Sneaker Summit thing. I got invited to it by one of my college mates, and he was like, yo, you wanna go? It's like, well, how much it costs, It's like, well, you just buy your ticket and And at that time, I think Sneaker Summit cost like $10, $15 to get in, real cheap. So went to Sneaker Summit, and that was a whole other world that I had never been privy to prior to then. Never, you saw kids that had the Jordans, had the fresh Nikes and stuff. But to see a bunch of people in one room and everybody's rocking heat, or everybody's rocking the dopest of the streetwear, it blew my mind. So that's how I got acquainted with premium goods. That's how I got acquainted. Once I saw that world, it just bing, bing, bing. It was just a whole bunch of other things, a whole bunch of other light bulbs and stuff started going off. So that's how I got acquainted with premium goods, Tipping Point. What else was out then? It was a lot of shops that were open then, no longer open, and a lot of shops that are open now that weren't open then. But streetwear, I can honestly say I'm glad to be a part of it, because it is booming and it's big and it's vibrant and it's worldwide now, especially with the internet, doing what it's doing. I could get online and find a shoe in Germany and it'll be in my house in like a week. You know what I'm saying? Like a shoe that I probably would have never been able to get 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because the internet just wasn't doing what it was doing. So, yeah. I would say streetwear in Houston, for me, didn't start to develop until the stores in Houston started making their own stuff. So like Tipping Point started making their own t-shirts. Like they made this really cool shirt called Stakes is High, but it was a flip of the Stakes is High album by De La Soul. And then Premium Goods, they do a whole bunch of different stuff. They got the Houston shirt that's pretty iconic, comes in all different colors. So that's how I got acquainted with streetwear in Houston. It's, to me, not a brand until you are making tops, bottoms, accessories, right? Everybody can't afford to make sneakers. Everybody can't afford to make outerwear. I get it. Or denim. I get it. But if you're not rocking that, if you are calling yourself a brand, you need to have at least tops, bottoms, and accessories. Accessories meaning caps, like, you know, baseball caps, you know, some kind of keychain, some kind of thing, an object, you know, accoutrement, you know what I mean? Something different. And for a long time, like, I'm talking, like I said, since I started going to Sneaker Summit up until maybe like, I started going in like 2007, so probably around like 2010, 2011, it was just t-shirts. It was just t-shirts. So I think until Houston starts to create the infrastructure for streetwear, like having the factories to get the shirts, and it's a few people, you know, you go on Hardwin, you know what I mean, like people that live in Houston know where to go to get the stuff, right? You go to Hardwin, you get the really nice, you know, poly cotton blend shirts, the 50-50 cotton blend, or, you know, if you want to go the cheap route, get your Gildan shirts, you know what I'm saying, and you get somebody to print on them, boom boom, and then you do it, you know. But I think once we start elevating beyond just doing t-shirts, we'll be in a much better, like every brand, like your standard needs to be at least t-shirts, some shorts or some sweats, and a cap. Like that, like when you come out the gate, you need to have that. You can't start with just a t-shirt and do like a bunch of different colors. You have to have other things. So streetwear in Houston is on the come up. It's a gradual come up. It's super slow, but I think that if we continue to progress the way that we are, and we continue to dare to be different, then we will get to a level of a New York. We will get to a level of a LA. But again, the infrastructure's got to be there. And we gotta make stuff aside from just t-shirts. That's the easiest question I got asked this whole interview. So my favorite all-time streetwear brand is Undefeated. I'm rocking it right now. Shout out to the guys, Eddie Cruz. Shout out to James Bond. Shout out to Mr. Eric Payne Chain. So I can talk about Undefeated all day long. And it was a huge influence. Undefeated was a huge influence as to why I began writing about streetwear. So when I started learning about streetwear back in like 2006, 2007, I came across an article on Nice Kicks. And the article simply read, you know, we're praying for Eddie Cruz. He is going into brain surgery. Now, a lot of people don't know this if they're not super diehard Undefeated fans, but Eddie Cruz was like going to have major brain surgery on a tumor that was literally on his brain, that if they wouldn't have removed it, could possibly have been malignant and taken him out the game. So I'm rooting for him. I don't even know this guy, and I didn't really know much about their clothing. I just was like, man, like this dude, he's like a well-respected guy in the streetwear community, but he, you know, we can't let him die, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, I just kind of followed his story, had the surgery was successful, and then he just took off. Like his brand just, whew. I remember the first time I saw Undefeated, like somebody wearing an Undefeated t-shirt on television. It was on like a CBS commercial or something, and it was for a show that was getting ready to come out. And I was like, oh snap, Undefeated. So, you know, when you're getting quality-based product combined with cool looking product put together, you get a brand that's gonna last forever. So for me, Undefeated is that. Now, two other brands that I really dig that a lot of people may not consider streetwear, but whatever, and that's Carhartt, which I have the cap, Carhartt, and Polo, Ralph Lauren. I got Polo Ralph Lauren socks. I promise these are Ralph Lauren socks. The horses on them. I don't know if you can tell, but that is the little Polo horse right there, bow. You know what I'm saying? I do rock Polo. And those two brands to me, those three brands to me represent everything that a man needs to rock in clothes, period. So like, if I want to be formal, I can go buy some Polo Ralph Lauren gear. If I want to rock streetwear, I can wear Undefeated all day long. And if I want to rock my outerwear or workwear, I can go put on some Carhartt, and I know it's gonna last. All these brands are quality, durable, long-lasting brands, and to me, when I mix them together, they exemplify what streetwear is.